Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Catalyst Meditation pre-meditation talk. Today, it is on the concept of love your enemies. Now, we had a version of this just yesterday, and this is going to be part two on what may turn into three parts, talking about the concept of loving your enemy. Today, we're going to be doing that with, coincidentally, today's uh, Season for Nonviolence quote of the day, and that is from Václav Havel. Havel says, "Truth must be integrated with love. Morality is not whole without it. Love is the greatest strength of the powerless. Unity founded on love will never be coercion. Power guided by love will never be violence. Love is all powerful and will even overcome hatred, and only love can do this." A very powerful quote, and a very powerful quote from a person who's not seen as a religious figure, not seen as a theologian, not seen as, running in, being in the church all the time. This notion of love as an active force is something that I've been working with for quite a while. And I want to bring this to you because um, a lot of times when we talk about love, we are talking about what I call cute, fuzzy bunny love. When we're talking about love, we're talking about um, people being happy and smiling all the time and lots of hugs and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that's not good. I am saying that's not the active force that can change our world. And so what we have to do is be focusing in on what is the active force. We have to be focusing in on how do we see ourselves, our actions during an average day? How do we see that as something that is can be an active force for change? So as I said earlier, this is going to be part two of something that may have three parts to it. Part one, I talked about yesterday about affecting the life of one person and maybe affecting the life of a second person in a different way. And I call one of them Sushi Man and the other one Hot Tub Man. And you should look at those videos. Um, Today, I want to talk about a couple of other instances where I had an opportunity, or I witnessed someone else having an opportunity to bring peaceful resolution through the application of love to a given situation. One of these things happened. Uh, I was doing a workshop, doing a week-long workshop in conjunction with my friend, the late Joanna Macy, and we were deciding how we wanted to do the workshop. And we decided to split the time right down the middle rather than both of us trying to talk at the same time. And we flipped a coin and decided that I would go first. So the people, this was at Hollyhock, and so the people at Hollyhock, we divided our 5 day week, and I got 2.5 days, and I got 2 days. Joanna got 2 days, and the middle day, we did something together. So after my 2 days, and we're in the cabin setting. Someone came to the cabin, my cabin door, and said, that she had been very affected by what I had said, that she was part of um, a lesbian underground movement, and that what they were going to be doing is killing men. And they were going to be killing men because men have caused all the problems of the world. And she was, after my presentations, she was uneasy about that and wanted to find out if I was willing to talk with her about it. And we wound up talking about an hour, hour and a half or so. And I believe that um, uh, through my talk, I changed her mind. I changed how she saw the world. And um, I think that well, I haven't seen any newspaper articles about mass murders of men, so I think that it changed the group's mind. Is it possible for us to love our enemies when the enemy has hurt you in a fundamental way? In the case of this particular woman, a man or men hurt her in a fundamental way, and she was going to get retribution against men. And that sounds completely reasonable and logical to your anger. And if you're talking to your anger like that, your anger's going to win. And that is going to do not, it won't do men any good. It won't change a single man's mind on anything and won't make you feel any good. It won't, it may be this temporary um, sense of gotcha. And that evaporates in no time flat and leaves you feeling as empty as you were before until you do it again, until you do it again, until you do it again. And that then becomes the cycle of your life. And that's the thing that we are being invited to let go of now. That's the thing that we're being invited to recognize that once you let that go, your perception of the world changes. Just it changes to something else. Um, that reminds me of a situation, the situation in the Mary Magdalene movie, um, where Mary Magdalene traveling with Jesus encourages him to go down to the creek where women were washing their clothes and speak to the women. It's like all the men are speaking to you, but you're not speaking to the women. So, um, and it's kind of funny when they get down there, he turns to Mary Magdalene and says, "What do I say?" And during that exchange, one of the women, and he's talking about love, and one of the women says, "Do you know how we are treated as women in this world? Do you have any idea of what we have to deal with, what we have to do, the indignities that we have to face that nobody in the system wants to do anything about?" And she goes on for a while. And my thinking when she's doing this is like, this might be a nice place to pull a miracle because she was running it down pretty well. And what he said was, How does carrying that pain around for you, how does how carrying that pain make you feel? And she gave this startled look, like, he didn't deny that the pain was there. He didn't deny that her impression of pain was valid. But what does it mean for you to carry that around day after day, year after year? That pain, that the elements of that pain may have been 20 years old, may have been 40 years old. It may have occupied her entire life and shaped her life, shaped the anger that it shaped becomes a palpable force and becomes something that is that that she could let go of. But on the other hand, it's something that you can actually embrace your pain. You can actually believe that your pain is something that uh, is natural, is normal, and actually is an integral part of your identity. Um, and so this gets to my third part of my um, of this talk. And um, as an African American, as a Black person who is living within the history uh, of America, which to Black people has been a very checkered history. Um, I have had um, negative experiences of racial energy in this country, starting at, oh, I don't even know, 5 or 6 years old. Um, I remember going to the store back in the days when the store was right on the corner, and you could send a 6-year-old to the store to buy this, that, and the other, and they would, and you give the guy the $5 bill, and he'd put the change right in the bottom of the bag, okay, and you go merrily back home. But sometimes going into certain stores, the storekeeper would not give me a bag. So if I had 3 or 4 items, everybody else got bags. I didn't get a bag. So I'm walking down the street trying to juggle these 3 or 4 things that I bought. And my mom would see me coming and meet me at the door. She says, go right back there and tell him that you want a bag. And I'm like, now, why am I in the middle of this? Did I do something wrong? Why doesn't she go back and tell him that I want a bag? Um, but um, anybody could say, "Oh, he just forgot to give the kid a bag," or he got busy with another customer and didn't see it. There's a lot of excuses that roll around in your head. But my mom could pierce through all those excuses. I'll bet there wasn't a white kid that walked out without a bag, you know. And from that, other levels of indignities, other levels of pains, slight or large, would come up. Um, it happened so frequently in our past. It happens so frequently in our present that it becomes a way of looking at the world. And it becomes a way of looking at the world so that when I'm walking down the street, it's hard for me to see a human being. I see a white guy or a white woman or a black guy, or I start compartmentalizing my life, and then um, I can attach meaning to my compartmentalization. I can start thinking, oh, if he's a white guy, then he doesn't understand me, he doesn't like me, and I start being defensive with absolutely nothing happening, not one thing happening. Okay. Um, some time ago, I made a decision to stop doing that. So just as Jesus said to the woman down by the river washing her clothes, how does carrying around that pain make you feel? How does carrying around the pain of racism over the course of 300 years make you feel? Well, I can tell you, it makes you feel lousy. And as soon as you let it go, you can feel your spirit start to rise. Now, here's a really interesting question. Do you want that spirit to rise? What if you have allowed an identity that is based on your pain? What if you've allowed an identity that is based on you not being good enough? What if you allowed an identity that is based on somebody is going to do me wrong because of the color of my skin? Well, I would say that number one, there's an awful lot of wonderful experiences that you've screened yourself away from because you are waiting for somebody to dump on you. Um, I remember the first time when I didn't feel that energy. Everywhere I've gone in the United States, I've felt the energy of this oppressive energy that is just so much in the background. It just feels like normal. Um, I, for some reason, I went up to Halifax, Nova Scotia for something, probably a conference or something like that. And I was there for several days. I was actually interacting with the Black community up there. And it was unlike anything that I had ever felt before. The Black community in Halifax had a definite starting point. During the American Revolutionary War, the British told the African slaves that if we win, we will free you. And if we lose, the people who win are your slave owners. So this is going to go on for a while. So there were a huge number of African Americans who chose to fight for the British. The British lost. And they took the people the black people who fought for them up to Canada, where they lived as free people from day one. And because they were there and seen as free people and seen as equals, they had a very different energy toward each other, toward themselves, toward their government. And I found it startling, amazing, and very refreshing. What can we do about this? This background of slavery that has been with us for 300 years or so, it has morphed over time, but has never gone away. What can we do to make it go away? Well, there's something we can do to make it go away. Um, you probably heard me talk about Michelle Small Wright, the woman who wrote the book Behaving as If the God in All Life Mattered. And she created something that she called the battle energy release process. I could talk for about an hour about it, but I don't have an hour. I've got a couple of minutes. And in that process, you um, um, you go to and she was doing this around the Civil War issues, around the battlefields of the Civil War. These horrible exchanges between people would take place, death and destruction. And nature was holding this energy, um, and the energy needed to be released. And so Michelle was going around to these various battlefields, and with the process that she created, basically said to the energy, let go, release to your next highest level, leave this area. And it worked. I did this with her a couple of times, and I saw that we could do this same energy in all of the conflict areas in our country where whites and blacks had come into conflict. All the slavery areas, like just feeling it in, for example, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, all the places that had big slave markets. And I created a process that I called the slavery energy release process. And I went to these areas and asked that energy to leave, and it left. You could literally feel the energy. In Savannah, Georgia, they had this place, this area called River Place, or River Walk. They spruced up the riverfront downtown as a touristy trap, and people didn't go there. They didn't. It's the river stayed a place where people tended to avoid. White people avoided it, and black people avoided it. You could feel the decades of slaves, of human beings being bought and sold in this area, and it stuck to the stones. I mean, literally, it was not something you could scrub off. But you, me, a person, could go there and change the energy. And then I started thinking, like, okay, I can change this energy. Should I? Is it mine to change? I didn't live in Savannah, Georgia. I wasn't from Savannah, Georgia. That's not my location. Um, and I believe that this is something that we can do as human beings, but we have to get the right cocktail of human beings to do this. This is not the job of white people alone. This is not the job of black people alone. What we have to do is move that energy together. We have to love our opposites. We have to, and instead of saying love your enemies, because I don't even identify having enemies anymore, um, to love the other, because you definitely have some others, people you would rather not be around. And by going um, uh, into yourself and clearing that energy, into each other, the people you're working with, and clearing that energy, and going into the places where that energy is being held in our history, held in the nature that was witness to those energies. By moving that energy around, I think that we will be able to see and act in a completely different way. And that may be something that we decide to take on when there's enough we's to take on something like that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Catalyst meditation for our weekly Catalyst meditation. Welcome to those who have joined us today. Welcome to anyone who's actually following on the outline, but I don't see anybody today. And welcome to those who have been with us in the past on the Catalyst meditation, but can't join us today. We are going to do what we normally do right now, which is our centering meditation. And we're going to do that by synchronizing our breathing. And we're going to do that by breathing in, breathe out, breathe in, and if we can continue with our silent centering for another minute or so. And if we can come back to our mutual center, we will continue with our intentions. As the imaginal cells within the chrysalis come together to form the butterfly out of the disintegrated caterpillar cells, we come together to form a gateway for the meta-consciousness of the mind of Gaia. We act for ourselves personally, and we act as aspects of the One. The universe is one, is alive, and is conscious. Holonic consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe. Every atom in the universe holds consciousness. It is always with us. We're acknowledging this now because many humans have forgotten, and many humans have been in denial. We act to reawaken our connection to Mother Earth for the benefit of all living beings. And we acknowledge our connection to all beings. Our oneness includes all humans, including those who have gone before and those who are to come. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the air. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the water. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the earth. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in our bodies. We are one with all beings that thrive on light, the beings of the plant realms. We are one with all meta-beings, including the earth as a living meta-being, air as a living meta-being, fire as a living meta-being, water as a living meta-being. We are one with all colony beings, meta-beings that are collections of solo beings, and this includes murmurations, colonies, schools, hives, pods, flocks, herds, migrations, harmonies, swarms, and other forms of colony beings. We especially acknowledge and honor those beings who are partnered and bound with us, including those beings we rely upon for food, for security, for assistance, and for love and companionship, and those beings who rely on us for the same. And we acknowledge all other forms of consciousness, known and unknown to us. Having acknowledged all beings, we blend all of our energies. May all who are part of Mother Earth be connected to and in perfect health, harmony, and balance with each other and with Gaia for the common good. We are in perfect physical health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect emotional health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect relational health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect mental health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect spiritual health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect holonic health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect spatial and temporal health, harmony, and balance. We are in the perfect place at the perfect time, in the perfect conditions, and with the perfect beings. We set and we energize our declarations. We declare that the universe is one, is alive, and is conscious. We declare that holonic consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe. We declare that the earth and all earth beings are one. Together we form a meta-consciousness. We declare that the earth and all earth beings are one. Together we form a meta-consciousness. We declare that all humans are one. One family, one species, one destiny. Separations are illusory. We awaken human consciousness from all illusions of separation. We declare that humans are colony beings. We deepen and expand our human murmurations, our human harmonies. We declare that Mother Earth is the ultimate governing principle, the way that humans govern their behavior on this planet, replacing all other forms of human governance. This is the way our behavior aligns with the will of the Earth. We declare that Mother Earth is providing all necessary resources to achieve the vision of a world that works for all living beings. We declare that we are creating a political and economic system where all beings participate in it. All beings are in relationship with it. All beings own it. All beings benefit from it. And all beings govern it for the common good. So we'll now meditate within this holonic energy. We'll meditate within the energy of Mother Earth. We will be listening for messages that we may receive to bring back to others. We'll be making any personal requests that we may have. And we'll be deepening and expanding our human experience of our human murmurations, our human harmonies. We will do so for the next 8 to 10 minutes, and we'll be starting now. And if we can come back to our mutual center, we'll conclude our catalyst meditation with our inclusivity mantra. May I be well. May I be secure. May I be happy. May we be well. May we be secure. May we be happy. May you be well. May you be secure. May you be happy. And may all beings be well. May all beings be secure. May all beings be happy. And so it is. And so it shall be. And thank you for joining us. Two things that's feeding me um, is Bible research. And, I mean, I read the Bible a couple of times. I really wish I had this research so that I could um, determine in advance what not to listen to. I read all the begats, and I was like, I'm sure there's a point in this. And I was wrong. Okay. And so there's this thing on YouTube of it's going through every book of the Bible and digesting it in 8 minutes. And I think it's being serious about it. It's not like snarky. The uh, but it's interesting. Um, the other thing is on consciousness, and I'm thinking that I'm going to be giving this to all of us because it's they're not looking at consciousness the same way I'm looking at it in terms of holonic consciousness, which is one of the reasons why it's nearly impossible for me to get a conversation about consciousness with anyone who knows anything about consciousness because they think that I don't know. So this video that I'm halfway through is 2 hours long. And it's good stuff. And I'd say he's about 60 to 70% where I am. Still hasn't let go of some constructs that keep us from understanding what's actually happening. Um, but I've been feeling 60% affirmed. So um and yes, we all have constructs. I read that without my glasses on. Um and not a but, and if we actually sit down with each other and explore each other's constructs, we will be able to see what's lying behind all of this stuff. The good thing about this video series is he keeps saying there's a lot of stuff that's lying behind all this stuff, and we can't see it, and I can't see it, but let's kind of explore the void together here, which I think was really good. And Esther, you got a hot mic, and you should not be hesitant at all to use it. So,
Well, you did ask us to ask for any messages that came down, and I I got a couple of insights that I just had to write down. And one is dark, the dark night of the soul is about peeling away the labels our beliefs put on the world. It's the lens.
Um,
Peeling away these layers reveals God's way. To love as the Father loves is to believe in the truth, beauty, and goodness around you.
um, since you write so fast, into the chat, I'm going to invite you to do that. I got good pieces of that, but I'm going to invite you to load us up here. Um, um, in a way, I was talking about that during the talk part of today, and how um, what I had to do as an African American living in a society with a history of slavery was peel away my own layers from that. And then I'm able to peel away the societal labels of that. Until you can do both, you stay stuck. And I think that this is a continual process. It's not just, oh, I peeled this away 6 months ago, so I don't have to look at it again. It's like, no, you can keep looking, you know. Um, um, I would also say that it's also looking at and looking for the light. That the light is right there with us all the time, also. And um, we can peel away our limitations on the light, if that makes any sense. Um, so I am so sick of hearing, and I guess my neighbors are sick of hearing me reacting to the things I see on videos and yelling at the screen. Um, um, but anytime you have um, anything that talks about consciousness, the first thing they say is consciousness is formed in a human brain, meaning if you're not looking at a human brain, you are simply not looking at consciousness, which is probably the most limiting way that you could ever think about the issue of consciousness. And I mean, I want to find like who's the first person that said that so you can slap them, you know, and not slap them hard, just slap them awake, like okay, time to wake up now. You've seen my slide of the comparison between a human brain and a dolphin brain. You you don't have to spend 10 seconds looking at it other to know that the dolphin's brain is bigger, it has more folds in it, it is denser, and it has four lobes. We only have three. We can't imagine what the fourth lobe does. Now, because we are so arrogant, we say, oh, yes, of course, we know what your fourth lobe does. But how could you when you don't have the equipment to even begin the process of developing the capacity to understand? It has four lobes. We only have three. We can't imagine what the fourth lobe does. Now because we are so arrogant, we say, "Oh yes, of course we know what your fourth lobe does." But how could you when you don't have the equipment to even begin the process of developing the capacity to understand? Starling murmuration on a video, and it said starlings do this as a finding food and as a mating ritual. And it's like, how the heck did you know that? Did you ask any of them? You know, did you see directly after murmuration, they're all up in the trees getting down, Uh, or this this group of starlings gets more food having a murmuration than this group of starlings that didn't have a murmuration. So the peeling away of the layers, one of those layers is arrogance. Um, the notion that we know anything, not every we act like we know everything, but the notion that we know anything is uh, is interesting. Okay. I had a talk with my daughter, had an interesting talk with my daughter. She asked me, what do I stand for? And she said, I think you know. I think I know, but there's one thing about knowing, and it's another thing about asking. So um, she was saying that the others in the family had words like grace and love and faith. So she said, like, okay, what is it? What is the word that you stand by? And I'm looking over this pile of books that I wrote, and I know that the common theme there is inclusivity. And so I said inclusivity, but my immediate thought was that word's too long. I need one of those pithy ones like grace or love or, you know, um, not meta consciousness.
Right. One
So
syllable, one
yeah,
syllable.
one good hard hitting syllable there, Um, and
Like God,
um, you will recognize that I rarely, if any time, mention God. And I follow Václav Havel's formulation. He said, I never mention God as a courtesy to God. He said, every politician who has no idea of what God is doesn't want God to be in their life at all. All they want is their own ego. But they take their ego and they put the little um clothes on their ego and they call it God, and then they go and force it on the rest of the world. Okay. Um and
that's only a concept. I mean, that's only a concept.
it's not even a
It's a
decent.
perception, actually.
I disagree. I don't think they're perceiving anything
And no,
other.
I think you are perceiving them that way.
Oh, um, I'm definitely perceiving them that way. Um, Václav Havel definitely perceived them that way. So when um, someone like a Pol Pot or a Joseph Stalin or an Adolf Hitler or one of them talked about God, Um, I can say, I don't know what you mean, but I mean something very different. And if what you believe in is God, then what I believe in is something else. Okay. And I think that that is um, I think that that is a something. My brain isn't, maybe this is the 4 a.m. part. My brain isn't working that swift right now. But um, uh, when I look at um, when I look at how politicians talk about God, and I look at what you just wrote, God is the first source and center and the all of everything that is. I agree with that. When I see the average politician saying, um, as I actually witnessed Trump's swearing in ceremony of that he swore to God that he was going to faithfully execute the Constitution of the United States and you could see on his face that he had no idea that what he was talking about, and he didn't care that he knew what he was talking about. That his statement of a few months ago, a couple months ago, of he can do anything he feels like doing, and there's nobody to stop him. That was his concept of the world. That was it on his first election inaugural day. That was it on his second inaugural day. And um, my ability to see,
There are forces bigger than him at work, and many people are seeing what you're seeing. And I think that is something worth taking heart in, because we all see that there's a better way. And he is the embodiment of that, you know, when a society gets to that point of ripeness, to where it's just at the verge of rotting,
Mhm.
that a change is happening. And we've talked about that for a long time. But now we have it on our screens. And we're really shifting from a centralized media that tells us all what to think and how we should be, to a um, varied medium. Like, you could have 1 million followers on YouTube, even though most of the people in the world don't know you.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
it's it and that can be true for many people, because interests can overlap and whatnot.
Yes.
So the control that they think they can have is an illusion. And the fact that the media is breaking up like it is, and people are recognizing that there is reality beyond our political uh, scheme.
Yeah. Um,
But we do have checks and balances available and in place yet, that can counterbalance the very thing that you were talking about. We should remember that too.